What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Hayley and I am a third semester nursing student. And for today's video, I have some tips that I wanted to share with you guys. It's 6 things that I wish I knew before starting nursing school. So just to throw a little disclaimer out there, these are obviously things that are my personal opinion. Other people may disagree, or you may feel that these are, not necessarily going to be helpful. But these are the things that I wish that I had known, and so I'm gonna try and help you guys out. I'm sure that there are literally a billion things that I wish I had known, but I narrowed it down to 6 specific things that I wish I knew. So speaking from experience, I have completed 2 semesters so far of nursing school, along with 1 semester of my bachelor's. And obviously I have learned a lot of things. There's a lot of information that needs to be crammed into your brain throughout nursing school. So the first thing that I want to talk about is military time. So the first thing that I wish I had known / studied before starting nursing school is military time. This might be silly because it's probably not that difficult to learn, but for some reason I'm just having a really hard time with cramming in all of the necessary nursing information that I have and then adding trying to figure out military time on top of it. This might not be really an issue for some people, but I do think it would have been a lot more beneficial if I had, studied and practiced with military time before starting nursing school. Obviously, everything involved with charting and, when med administration is and stuff like that, everything uses military time. So I just think that learning military time and getting used to that before starting nursing school would be really beneficial. The second thing that I wish that I had known before starting nursing school is some lab values. So I want to elaborate a little bit. Obviously, in nursing school, you learn lab values and what they mean depending on whatever chapter you're looking at. But I do think that there's some lab values that can be studied even before starting nursing school, because I feel like once you're in, they go over lab stuff very briefly. We don't spend a lot of time on it because there's just so much to get done. So I feel like starting to study some of those before starting nursing school would have been really beneficial, because then I could have kind of an advantage, a good handle on some lab values before I actually got into the program. Obviously there are a ton of lab values, so I'm not saying to try and learn every single lab value there is before starting nursing school, but I do think learning some of the really common and basic ones that we're going to be talking about a lot through school would be really helpful to kind of start make ways to remember the values, or studying that kind of stuff and knowing the normal ranges along with what an increased or decreased level can mean and the symptoms associated with it. Because again, you're just learning so many other things in school that I feel like we don't spend enough time on the lab value normals. They just kind of go over it and you're expected to remember it. I just think that studying some of those ahead of time would definitely have made it easier for me to review them and remember them better. For number 3, this is probably the most important one that I have for you guys today, and that is to take anatomy and physiology seriously. Now this might seem like a no-brainer. Of course you need to take your prereqs seriously, but I think by far the most important prereq for nursing school is anatomy and physiology. But either way, literally everything that you learn in nursing school is built on top of the information that you learned in anatomy and physiology. They're not going to spend time reviewing body systems or bones. They're not going to review that kind of stuff. They expect you to know that. And when they say, whatever part of the body they're talking about, they're not going to sit there and ask you if you know what they're talking about. They're going to assume that you remember everything you learned and that you're ready to build valuable nursing information on top of what you learned already. Anatomy and physiology are not those classes that you can, pass and then dump all the information out of your brain. It needs to stay with you, and like I said, you're building on top of those fundamentals throughout nursing school. A tip that I have for you guys is to actually keep your anatomy and physiology stuff maybe in a separate binder or a folder or a drawer or wherever, and review that kind of stuff as necessary, because like I said, it's super, super important stuff, guys. For number 4, I have a little bit of encouragement and something that I wish I knew before starting nursing school is that it is not impossible. I just wanted to put this in there because I feel like before starting nursing school, I had this idea that it was going to be impossible, like I was going to be studying 24/7 and not get to do things with my friends, not see my family. You know, this was going to be my life now, and I was just never going to be able to accomplish it. Like I felt like I wasn't good enough for that. I wasn't worthy and I wasn't smart enough to do that kind of stuff, you know? But now that I've completed 2 semesters, I want to put some encouragement out there for you guys that it is not impossible. And trust me, if I can do it, you can do it too. Obviously, it's a lot of hard work and it is a lot of studying, but I just feel like people talk about it sometimes like, oh my God, your life's over now. And in reality, I feel like your life is just beginning. You are stepping foot into learning about a profession that's gonna help people, and I just think that that's amazing. It's an opportunity for growth and you're learning so much. And like I said, it is a lot of hard work, but I just want everyone to understand that if you put in the hard work and the time, you can do it. I am currently not working while I'm in nursing school, so I'm able to devote my full time and energy just to school, which I'm so thankful for. But I have plenty of friends in my program who work multiple jobs if necessary. They have kids, you know, they have families, so they do just as well as I do in school, you know, so maybe they have to manage their time a little bit differently, but they make it work and it's not impossible for anyone. And I just really want that point to be coming across to you guys, because if that's what you want to do, then follow your dreams and you can do it, I promise. Number 5, I feel like this is also kind of a no-brainer, but I just want to really like drive this home, I guess. Nursing school, or maybe school in general, but from personal experience, nursing school is so expensive. It's actually kind of ridiculous in my opinion, between like the supplies, the textbooks, the uniforms, the tuition. I mean, there is just so many things that you have to pay for, and I think it's important to take this into account before starting school. I wish I had known more clearly exactly how much this was going to cost. Saving money before starting, if you need to, is definitely important, as well as applying for loans if that's what you want to do, or however you want to make it work to pay for it. But figuring this out ahead of time, like before starting school, is super important. Another tip that I have for you guys is to look into your school and your program's scholarships. There's always different ways that you can get scholarships, sometimes just by writing essays or, you know, whatever it may be. But I definitely think that you should look into that before starting, because you'll never regret applying for a scholarship. So I definitely recommend looking into that depending on your school and figuring out if that's something that may be helpful for you. All right, the 6th and final thing that I have for you guys today is the grading scale. So this obviously varies from program to program, but I know that most nursing schools have a minimum grade that you can get in order to move on to the next class. It's not like, oh, if you get a C, then you pass. It's usually a percentage. For my school, it is a 78%. You have to do better than that on the test, otherwise you get sent to the learning center for some tutoring, which I don't think is a bad thing. However, they do not round, so I have several friends who got pushed back in the program because they got a 77.8%. So that does not get rounded up to a 78. It has to be a 78 solid % or better in order to move forward in the program. I think this is important information to know before starting, because this is not something that like you can just kind of not take seriously. So obviously you're taking the program seriously, you know, doing your best on the tests and exams and everything like that. I just think it's really important to have a good handle on this ahead of time before starting the program, because once you get halfway through or however far through and you're like below that threshold, you're going to be panicking and trying to get up to that elite, like the minimum percentage. Whereas I feel like if you go into it like with a clear head and you know what is expected of you, that you are better able to, you know, do your best, and you know how important it is to get those good grades. Again, this varies from program to program, so make sure that you look into what your program's minimum percentage is. I know most of them it's like an 80, an 82. Like I said, for mine it's a 78. So whatever that may be, I think it's important to keep that in the back of your head at all times throughout school. All right, guys, so that about wraps up today's video. That is 6 things that I wish I knew before starting nursing school. I could probably make a whole series of these things, but I think that these are 6 really important ones that I would have found really beneficial. I hope this helps and I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe for some more upcoming videos that I have planned for you guys. I would really appreciate it if you guys could leave a comment down below with some video requests that you guys are waiting to see or something that you think may be helpful so that I know the kind of videos you guys are wanting to see. So yeah, all right, I'll see you guys in the next video.